The first of many. Elimination, lack of education. The Detroit Red Wings. Hello, welcome to another Bolts Analysis. I'm your host Chris as we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning and the rest of the NHL. And as you might have worked out, we are going to look at the rest of the NHL first. We are going to look at the Detroit Red Wings, who last night lost 4-1 on the road against the New York Islanders, which means they are mathematically, because in all other aspects they already were, they are mathematically eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's not surprising, but I feel like there were better ways for Detroit to go about this season. It's okay to a certain extent to be bad, to know that it's not worth going for the playoffs, you're not at that standard, it's not going to happen, try and get a draft pick. Kind of understand that, but you're kind of setting yourselves up for long-term failure, because let's say next season that we are at this stage, about 60 games in, the Detroit Wings are twice as good in every single regard. They'd still only have 68 points. They'd still be off the pace, even though that for any other team would be a phenomenal improvement to have twice as many points. Still be off the pace. Still wouldn't be in the playoffs. So it's kind of like you know, if you're a Detroit Red Wings fan, you're watching the season going, we suck. And even if we were twice as good next year, we'd still technically suck. And I feel like that's not really how you keep fans on board. I also feel like you could do more to keep your fans on board. Like, let's say, for example, that you do what you've been doing in recent games. You've been going up 1-0. You did it against Boston, you did it against Pittsburgh. Now, here's a revolutionary idea. Try and make it 2-0. Can you do that, Detroit? Because it kind of feels like someone's going, Detroit, you know how you just, took the lead? Yeah? Yeah, you're not really supposed to do that. You're supposed to suck. Can you let the other team score 4 or 5 goals? Oh, yeah, we can do that. Sure. Go for it. Go wild. I mean, Jimmy Howard isn't going to get a winning record at this point anyway, so go on, go for it. It just kind of feels like, yeah, the quality isn't there, but the effort is even less so. There are a lot of teams in this league who aren't necessarily as good as some of the sort of big guns, but if they put the effort in and the big gun doesn't, they win. I feel like Detroit could do that more. I feel like there have been enough examples this year that show that when Detroit actually bring their game, they can win. They beat Vegas. They beat Boston twice. They swept Montreal. How can you sweep Montreal and yet be much, much worse than them in the standings? Like, there's a good, nearly 30 points between you two. How is that a thing? I would be confused to the point of irritated that you can sort of, you find it acceptable that it's okay to raise your game against certain teams but not against others. Yeah. Where's the commitment like that against Pittsburgh? Or I don't know, any team you care to mention. It's not enough for me. It's not enough to go, oh, but we knew we'd be bad this year. Like, well, not this bad. Like, there's no reason to be this bad. There's no reason to have a goal difference of minus 108. You don't need to be that bad to get the lottery pick, in the draft, Detroit. You don't. I don't think that's ever been a sort of, no, they only get it if they're really, really excruciatingly bad. They have to have a game where the goalie who was going to play, Bernier, is sick, but now, they'll have the other goalie, Howard, but he has to get injured, and then they sort of have to go, oh, well, do we play Bernier? Yes, and it turns out actually the ill goalie is better than the other goalie. Bernier played better than Howard, but you still lost 6-0. No one is asking you to do this, Detroit. You can stop. You can stop being. You can make a bit more of an effort. I feel like recently they have been a little bit better, but there's just been points where it's been so atrocious. It's just like, do they get to forfeit? Can they call uncle? Now, I've been in races, because I do cross country, I do running, where it's blindingly apparent that I'm not going to win. In fact, it's been apparent that I'm going to last. I still try and finish. I still try and do as well as I can, even though it still means I'm going to finish last. Just have a bit more pride. Have a bit more pride. And, come back next year and actually, don't just go for, we want to get sort of a few more points than we did last year. Try and challenge, because you never know. You never know where, it's going to end up. Look at St. Louis. Look at what you can do when everyone thought you were going to finish last, and all of a sudden, whoop, they've got a Stanley Cup. Where did that come from? Give it a whirl, Detroit. You never know. And yes, I suppose I should give a bit of credit to the New York Islanders. Congratulations, you won 4-1 against the Detroit Red Wings. That does not cover up your awful road trip where you lost 4 out of 4. Tell you what, beat San Jose, beat the Rangers, beat the Blues, and then I will absolutely be the first to go, hey, welcome back. Good to see you back in form. Looks like it's going to be 2 playoffs appearances out of 2 seasons. Until then, no. Still not convinced that the Islanders are trending in the right direction. Just a quick preview, I guess. We'll move back to my team. That's right. I am going to talk about Tampa, even for a little bit. We are still on the road. We are up against the Arizona Coyotes. I believe this is the last in the road trip before we come back home and play Toronto. It's been a while since we've had to sort of look at how to rebound from a loss. I think that we will, purely because Arizona's, in terms of playing to their strengths, they play well when they're in a good position in the standings, when they can afford to be defensive. They don't play good, desperate hockey. It doesn't tend to work out well for them because they lose the shape, they lose the discipline, they lose the structure, they lose what makes them good. They're going to have to be desperate because they're outside of the wildcard spots and they don't even have the advantage of having games in hand, so they need to win every game and hope that other teams around them screw up. Not sure that they can do that. There's a lot of pressure on Arizona. There's to get into the playoffs, to end the drought, but they haven't been the same since the All-Star break. I believe they're 3-6-3. That ain't good. They don't score enough for me to be a threat offensively. I feel like if we get 3 or 4 tonight, that'll do it. I feel like if we go up 2-0 quite early on, that might do it. So as long as we stamp our own defensive areas, no turnovers when doing a line change, and no letting in 2 goals within a minute of the first period, Coburn, then we'll be fine, and it'll be the start of another win streak. But who knows? Last time we went to Arizona, they did beat us 7-1. So let's hope that particular lightning doesn't strike twice. That is it from me. Thank you very much for watching. This has been another Bolts analysis. Good luck to my Lightning tonight. Hopefully we start to get back in the win column. And remember, if I do hear the Arizona Coyotes goal horn go off, I will not be completely devastated because then I get to listen to Howling for You. It's a good song.